Excuse my excuse my crooked glasses. I need them to be able to read this sheet in just a second. I really had not ever run the numbers on this until just a couple of minutes ago. I'm a left brain dominant person, and so I run numbers by nature. It just happens without trying. So I ran the numbers on sugar for 3 basic recipes that I have. See, they're crooked. Yeah. Dollar store glasses. My bread recipe, which I'm just using as a general example for the sake of running the numbers, is a 1 to 18 ratio of sugar, and we're going to be using for this calculation, we're going to be using 25-pound bags of flour, and then calculate it accordingly to how much you have in your storage or how much you intend to store. So bread would be approximately 1.5 pounds of sugar for every 25-pound bag that you have in storage or that you intend to grind or what have you. So it's basically 1 to 18 ratio, which is about 1.5 pounds of sugar for every 25 pounds of flour. So calculate that one out. And then the muffin recipe is the next highest one for sugar, and you can use a pancake recipe or whatever you like and run your numbers accordingly. But a 25-pound, it's a 1 to 6 ratio, sugar to flour. It is really crooked. So it would give you 4 pounds of sugar you would need for a 25-pound bag of flour if you're making muffins. So if you look at your food storage and say, okay, this it's not a very scientific method, but if you say I would use this bag of flour for muffins, so I need 4 pounds of sugar. And you use this bag of flour, which obviously you're not going to separate it out that way, but in your mind, for bread, so I need 1.5 pounds of sugar to cover that bag of flour. This bag of flour is going to be used for cookies. Now, cookies is more expensive. You might want to consider that as well, how often you make muffins compared to how often you make cookies. Cookies is actually a 1 to 2 ratio in my recipe, which shocked me. So you would need 12.5 pounds of sugar to cover a 25-pound bag of flour. You can use this same concept, the same formula for figuring out any of the recipes that you have in your cookbook. I can take the crooked glasses off now. Just remembering that a cup of flour has, I'm sorry, my mind is going blank. A cup of flour has 16 tablespoons of flour in it. And so a half a cup of flour or sugar would have 8 tablespoons, a quarter of a cup, 4 tablespoons. And then you can calculate how many tablespoons of sugar are in your recipe versus how many tablespoons of flour are in your recipe, and then compare the two and find out what your ratio is. It's not really a hard formula, but it's a little bit confusing. Can be a little bit confusing. It's easier if you compare cups. If it calls for half a cup of sugar and it calls for 2 cups of flour, then you know that you have a 1 to, I can't even think today, 1 to 4 ratio. And then, so you can do it with cups as well as tablespoons, but sometimes you need to convert it to tablespoons. And then, so 1 to 4 ratio would be a 25-pound bag of flour. You would need about 6.5, is that right? 6, 12, 18, 24, 6.25 pounds of sugar. Now I'm going to get myself all confused. I better quit here. But you understand the basic principle. So somewhere between, depending on what you're baking, somewhere between 1.5 pounds to 12.5 pounds of sugar for every 25-pound bag. Very big spectrum there from one end to the other. And I imagine I'll be calculating something else in a minute, and I'll probably be back. This is the 51st video, and I'm not running out of topics. It's a little bit scary. Thank you. Bye.